All right. Thank you very much, Jeremy. This is Mike Nichols with Indiana DOT. And just a kind of a quick after action of what we did to prepare and run through the Total Solar Eclipse. To give you an idea, in Indiana, the eclipse started at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Totality was from 3:01 to 3:12, and it ended approximately 4:30 p.m. Next slide, please. So our staffing, our state of Indiana Emergency Operations Center is administered by the Department of Homeland Security, and we staff the ESF-1 transportation desk. And this staffing started Saturday, April 6th at 10 and concluded Monday evening at 7 p.m. We have two traffic management centers in Indiana. The secondary one is located in Gary, Indiana, up northwest, up suburb of Chicago, and it had limited hours. But then our Indianapolis-based traffic management center is a 24/7 operation. And what we did was we set up a traffic operations center to support the TMC in Indianapolis and Gary. And in that operations center, we had AECOM as our contractor that runs the TMC, the dispatch part of it. We had technical engineers running our cameras, signals, and message boards. We had traffic operations people and planning. And then we also had other state agencies. We had the Indiana State Police, their command, as well as special operations. Indiana Department of Homeland Security had a liaison in there. Our Integrated Public Safety Commission emergency response. In Indiana, we have a state-run 800 megahertz radio system. And so they stationed a liaison in with us, as well as having two cells on wheels and mobile repeater stations stationed two different geographically located areas in the state for quick response. And then we also had Indiana Department of Natural Resources, law enforcement, or conservation officers, what we call them here, representative. Because in the totality area, we have several state parks. And so they had been, the lodges had been sold out for about a year and a half, and campsites opened up fully 6 months ahead of time and were sold out within a couple weeks. So next slide, please. So one of the things that we did was the NDOT GIS section created a situational awareness map that we made available to all first responders and dispatch centers. And what we did was we tracked the state parks and rest park capacities as updated by our traffic operations center that we had set up. This also, we populated it with the traffic flow, as well as hospitals, schools, which most of them were on an e-learning day or closed. We had pushed that messaging out early. But then also we had private and public events populated on this map. And the way we gathered those was through a partnership with the Indiana State Tourism folks. They had on their website, you could go in and populate your event, and that could be everything from, hey, I can park 10 cars in my front yard, to large-scale event at Indiana University in Bloomington, where they had William Shatner come, Captain Kirk from Star Trek. And so we could populate those events as well. Next map, please. or next slide. So our Traffic Operations Center, we broke Indiana up into 5 geographical areas: Northwest, Northeast, Central, Southeast, Southwest. And each pod was staffed by someone with the Indiana DOT and the Indiana State Police. Each pod had multi-camera statewide viewability of their area, and then also the situational awareness map for that section. Teams chat was utilized for situational awareness between our folks in the field, the supervisors, our representatives at the ESF1 desk, at the state EOC, as well as the AECOM dispatchers and state police. And then also DNR had their folks on our team's chat. The intent was to be able to dispatch maintenance teams from here to assist law enforcement or locals with any assistance they would need should an incident occur, necessitating redirection of traffic or traffic maintenance. We had 2 operators in the Traffic Operations Center updating the status of the state parks and the welcome centers. We did for capacity. We did not do that for all the special events or private events. That would have just been a nightmare logistically. Next slide, please. So our maintenance field operations, for the most part, we had them active from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And we had 17 welcome centers or rest parks in the path of totality. And we had crews out there. Once those facilities filled, then we did a hard closure with barricades and trucks. And we had portable message boards a mile before the closure announcing that. We populated it on that situational awareness map. We also populated it on our 511IN map for the public viewing. And then we kept those closed until after totality. And then people started moving. We did not want to have to deal logistically with, the one out, one in thing. So we pulled our maintenance people for the day of the eclipse. And so what we did is we had 120 teams staged at NDOT facilities or near interstates. And these teams consisted of dump trucks with attenuators, arrow boards, message boards, cones, barrels, etc. I'm happy to say that we did not have to use any of them, which was a pleasant surprise. Next slide, please, Adam. The keys to our success, the long-range planning. We actually started meeting at a state level 2 years prior, and then bringing in state agency collaboration, and then going out and meeting with local agencies. Put a lot of miles on the cars in that 2 years, meeting with people. The weather that day, the week leading up to it, we thought southwestern Indiana, where a lot of our rural areas are, a lot of 2-lane roads, a lot of state parks. Initially, that was going to be overcast and rainy. And then our fear was the day of, a lot of people would be migrating to the eastern part of the state. However, the day of the eclipse, the weather was perfect all over the state. So messaging, there was combined messaging, and the clip art there was a collaborative effort with the state police. And the message was arrive early, stay put, leave late. And that morning, pre-eclipse, traffic seemed to be minimal. And I don't want to take away from the Purdue folks because they did the, the analysis of that. But our folks coming into our operations center said traffic was a lot lighter than normal pre-eclipse. The Traffic Operations Center, like I said, supported the Traffic Management Center. And then we had the statewide resources at one place that we could dispatch out. The local events controlled at a local level, and we deconflicted a few issues prior to the event. Really got to hand it to the local agencies. Hats off to them because they were the rock stars in this. They dealt with the issues there. You know, we had a couple calls on traffic, and our guys running the timing for the traffic control lights remotely were able to mess with the timings a little bit or adjust them, I guess would be a technical term. And they were able to get the traffic cleared up and flowing. The other thing that helped was with our technical people in traffic management monitoring traffic. And as you'll see, I-65 going from Indianapolis up to Northwest Indiana, Gary, headed back towards the Chicago area, got filled up, and they were pretty busy up there. So our message board folks could watch that, and then they would change messaging appropriately. So it was a great collaborative effort internally in NDOT, bringing different entities together, but then also, like I said, the other state agencies and the local agencies. What we thought was going to be a long, drawn-out day, we actually secured people by 7, 8 o'clock that evening, and we just had traffic issues at that point. So it was a great success for us at NDOT. Thank you. That's what I have.